Let's turn to trade now. The government has today announced that it will pursue trade deals with Israel, Switzerland, Norway, the Middle East nations next year. Is this all about diversifying in the wake of China's trade actions?
Well, we've always had a policy of providing the maximum number of opportunities for Australian exporters and making sure that they have the chance to diversify their trade relations as much as possible. And that's what's driven us over the last few years as a government to secure trade deals, not only with China, but also with Japan and Korea through the Trans-Pacific Partnership with Canada and Mexico for the first time ever, to strengthen our trade relations with countries like Vietnam, to do a new trade agreement with Indonesia, and to pursue current negotiations that are already underway with the UK and the EU. Now, we hope to expand that network even further, that the ambition should be to conclude those UK and EU negotiations next year. And so it makes sense then to try to secure complementary trade agreements with the non-EU countries that are within Europe, the so-called European Free Trade Agreement nations, and so that group of four is a logical add-on. Israel is an important partner for Australia, where we've seen increasing degrees of cooperation in terms of technology and innovation, and so the opportunity for us to secure a trade agreement there, again, makes sense to build that range of additional choices for Australian businesses, and is consistent with what we've done, frankly, for the last 6-7 years.
We should mention today is your last day in the portfolio. It's been no secret you've been unable to get a phone call with your Chinese counterpart. Do you think that Dan Tehan's move to Trade Minister will allow Australia to restart this dialogue?
Oh, look, I think we have to keep all expectations in check there. China should, of course, come to the table and show the courtesy to a new Trade Minister in being willing to have dialogue. But the honest truth is that the challenges in terms of government-to-government engagement and ministerial-level engagement between China and Australia go back many years and predate even my appointment as Trade Minister. Now, I think this has been an error on China's part, that in a sense, first thing they cut was a willingness to actually sit down and talk. Whereas that should be the last thing that you take off the table, because the way you work through problems and differences and issues is to engage in dialogue. But I don't think we should have, given the history of recent years that goes back several years and to previous trade ministers and prime ministers, I don't think we should expect that there's going to be some silver bullet that comes. Dan, I know, will do an exceptional job. And I would urge Chinese authorities to show him the courtesy of engaging and having that dialogue and those discussions. But nor should we anticipate that they're just going to change their approach or their policies because we've got a new Trade Minister. Dan, I know, will get on, do his best to secure and finalise the agreements currently under negotiation, to support our exporters, to diversify wherever possible, to work alongside of them in the pursuit and resolution of issues with China. And I know that he will be ready and willing to have that thoughtful dialogue with China when they're ready to come to the table. But it's up to them to decide to be willing to have that mature, necessary dialogue that we seek.
Minister, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, my pleasure.